Again, it's important to remind Republicans that we're talking about criminal behavior. We're talking about extortion, bribery. Here's House Speaker Nancy Pelosi speaking yesterday.
The devastating testimony corroborated evidence of bribery uncovered in the inquiry, and that the president abused power and violated his oath by threatening to withhold military aid and a White House meeting in exchange for an investigation into his political rival. Quid pro quo, bribery. Bribery. And that is in the Constitution attached to the impeachment proceeding.
So what was the bribe here?
The bribe is to grant or withhold military assistance in return for a public statement of a fake investigation into the elections.
I mean, bribery's pretty easy. Here, I'm going to give you this money, and you change what you're doing as a leader of your country in exchange. This is what Donald Trump's doing here on a much lower. Yeah, he's bribing them with a military. What's interesting is Congress has already passed this. He still is holding it up because he doesn't believe the Constitution holds any checks and balances for him. So you can call it bribery. You can call it arms for dirt, for political dirt. You can call it a lot of things. But quid pro quo really does sort of undersell it.
Let's call it bribery. I want a few names here. Representative James Traficant, Congressman from Ohio, Representative Buzz Lukens, Representative Duke Cunningham, Representative William Jefferson, Mario Biaggi, of course, former Illinois governor, all in jail for bribery.
For bribery.
It's a crime. It's that simple. And it was no different. Mayor, the governor of Illinois, basically he had a seat for sale, and he said, what are you going to pay me for this seat? Oh, and by the way, it actually never happened, but he still went to jail.
Exactly.
So the Republicans' argument, well, we eventually
did but you know
it.
what, though, Willie? I don't think we can let anybody talk badly about Blago like this.
I'm just trying to make a point.
This time. They came after him because of health care.
Yes.
He wanted to pass health care, and that's where they came.
But thank you, Nancy Pelosi, because this is something the average person can understand. It's a bribe. Okay, and that's a crime. I know that's a crime. People go to jail for. So regardless of whether it's in the Constitution, in our basic criminal system, a bribe is a criminal activity that you go to prison for.
Right.
Now, this was a simple bribe. As to your point, he could have easily have said, okay, unless you give me $10 million, I'm not giving you the aid. He actually was asking for something even more valuable. Right. He was asking to win the next election, get me dirt on the guy that I feel most vulnerable against. So we have a president who tried to bribe. That's something at a kitchen table I can understand.
You know, the thing is, though, Jason, this is nothing new. Like, everybody that's ever served in Congress, everybody that's ever served in Washington, D.C., everybody that has ever had an aide sit down with them and say, Joe, you need to look over these FEC rules, right?
Yeah. I mean, look,
knows that Donald Trump has already committed a felony. He actually, if I would have paid somebody off a week before any of my 4 congressional elections to keep them quiet and not report them, I'd be in jail.
Joe, that's the reason that this actually works. That's the reason that Republicans are particularly concerned right now. The reason that this current impeachment hearing works is because we already know Donald Trump. Because we know this is how he operates. Because just a couple of weeks ago, there were reports out of Politico that he had members of the Senate at the White House basically saying, hey, look, I won't fundraise for you in 2020 if you don't make sure that you vote for me to not be removed from office. All of this is in line with how the man advertised himself on television for 12 years, where he said all he does is cut deals. But I want to say this because I think this is the really, really critical thing here for everybody who's sitting at home and paying attention. I was surprised. I was all around Washington, D.C. area, my barber, my dentist. People locally are paying attention to this issue. Unless the Republicans can find an alternative explanation for this behavior, they have absolutely no chance of changing the narrative for these hearings. It is so obvious what the president has done. It is so obvious he has disturbed the lives and the careers of so many civil servants. They can't change this narrative right now, and screaming at people like Jim Jordan did is not going to change anything.
It's not, I mean, you know.
It's so obvious.
What would Strauss say? That's Strauss.
The defenses are getting more pathetic by the day.
They really are.
More pathetic by the day. What we've seen from the cable news side of it anyway is that Bill Taylor and George Kent were, quote, nerds. That they were pencil neck geeks. And
Wait, who said that? Who said it? Who's that?
It's on other networks. People are saying things like this.
Did you see on Lou Dobbs, he had those two lawyers that I used to know? Blame the Jews. It's a Jewish conspiracy.
Soros. Yep.
Oh, my God.
It's the Jews. It's the Jews. It's a Jewish conspiracy. It's George Soros. It's the Jews, is what Lou Dobbs' guests are saying.
The President of the United States last night, his defense was that Adam Schiff has a small neck.
10-inch. Actually, he gave the circumference. It was 10 inches.
But
you know,
the point being, the
He's so obsessed
absurdity
with
of the
size.
defense when they have nowhere to go. And the president said, you had Taylor and Kent sitting there. They were asked by Congressman Ratcliffe if this was impeachable, and they didn't say anything. He believes they have to end the hearings now because that exonerated him. They were clear they were not there to help them along and make an impeachment defense. They were there to present the facts and to tell people what they saw and heard.
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
You go through all of it though, and this is what I don't understand, Mika, is that.
Yeah, then I'm going to get us to break.
I don't understand so much.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So
real quick,
let's say this is a hot stove. We'll call this the hearsay stove.
Okay.
Okay. Bzz, I put my hand on it, right? It's burned.
Don't do that again.
I'm not going to do that again because, I found out that, I said hearsay, and then the next couple of days they actually filled in the facts with people who were there, right? Republicans are doing it again on this phone call. Oh, it's second, third, fourth hand. It's going to happen to them again because there are people who are testifying to that. And not only that, Donnie, there are people now at OMB. They're going, would you, I can talk. Would you like me to talk? I'll talk. Hey, Donald.
It's
Donald.
awful.
Donald.
It's so bad.
Donald. Everybody's gonna talk, right? And all of these lies, and I'm sure Sir John learned this studying the New Testament at Oxford, sipping his latte in his paisley smoking jacket.
Hey, don't knock Paisley
It was
Smoke.
Everything that's whispered will be shouted from the mountaintops. And it's all getting shouted from the mountaintops, Donnie. People are testifying because they know what the president did was corrupt. They know it was bribery. They knew it was arms for political dirt. They know it is a crime. And they, like Sondland, don't want to spend their time in jail like Manafort or your friend Michael Cohen.
Yeah, it's very, this is, I mentioned last week on the show, I was with Michael last week, and he's sitting there going, wait a second, why am I the guy sitting here?
That is,
I did something at the direction of, on behest of, oh, and by the way, he also, the lesson he'll learn, he did lie to Congress, and that added on to a sentence. So a lot of people have seen it. If they went to visit Michael Cohen.
So do you think Sondland is going to lie to Congress?
I do not think so. I do not think so.
How big's a jail cell that Sondland would be in? Like, tell me about Michael Cohen's jail cell.
Well, I didn't. He's in a barracks, but it's not a happy place.
So Sondland, it may not be that bad. So maybe Sondland will lie to protect Donald Trump, because we know Donald Trump would lie to protect Sondland and go to jail for it. Maybe Sondland will take the hit.
I'm going to give them the number. It's 1-800-Otisville, and they should all call Michael. And none of these people are going to tell anything but the truth. And by the way, the lie he told was at the direction of Jay Sekulow.
So, oh really? But Jay's a Christian.
I'm going to take you to break now.
But wait, I don't understand. Jay's a Christian. He told him to lie?
Yep.
Huh. Hey, Mika, really quickly before we go to break, I want to talk about baseball for a second.
Okay.
Listen, I like the Astros.
Oh, we're going here.
And I like the Astros coaches. Like, I've had a chance, because we go to spring training, and they're really good guys. But, man, the Astros. And now I've had my friends, Richard Labounty, Coach Labounty, Pensacola, Florida, best coach in high school coach in Florida, told me a couple years ago, he goes, Coach, the Astros cheat. They cheat. And he just talked about they steal signs and they flash. Have you seen those videotapes?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So what happens is...
I didn't see the videos. What are they?
So what happens is they steal a sign. They steal signs
with
off
a
the camera.
And then he bangs on it.
And they bang. So if it's a fastball, nothing. But if it's a slider, you hear two bangs. If it's a changeup, one.
I didn't see the video. Wow.
And you can watch games all throughout the year, and they're stealing signs.
So It's a camera in the outfield. They steal the sign, and it's as quick as somebody in the dugout hits a garbage can once or twice to tell the hitter what pitch is coming.
And you know, the shame is, I mean, I really love those guys.
I do too. I like their team.
I love the team. They are just such.
Need to do that.
Seems like good guys, but that is just dirty. I mean, a player needs to go, listen, I don't want to be part of that.
Well, it was a pitcher who left the team who actually outed them, who told the story of what they were doing. So I think the only way to go is to vacate the 2017 World Series
And give it to the Red Sox.
give the AL to the Yankees who lost that series, the ALCS, and let's replay the World Series. Yankees Dodgers.
Yay.
Yankees get their 28th
Joe,
ring, and I think
Joe,
that's
you know what's the
way to
only
go.
thing worse than that? And I don't really know anybody like this. If you cheat at golf. I don't know anybody who cheats at
boy.
but that's,
Would do that.
that's
It's
even
only
lower.
Donald
That just, if you want to really
That
kind
upsets him
of go
more
to the
than what
bottom.
Joe said.
I don't know anybody who cheats at golf. Of course, I'm not a big golfer, but that would be the real tell about
All
somebody.
right, so
Read
coming
Rick
up,
Riley's book on the president.
we
Oh, really?
are going to be talking about Darrell bed bugs and
my God.
little
By the
Donnie
way,
Jr. like cheating his way to the top of the New York Times bestseller list with bulk buys. from
Well,
the
okay, hold a
RNC.
second, hold on. And I'm serious, I want to be careful here.
What?
Don Jr. did not buy the books in bulk. The RNC bought the books in bulk, and there is a big difference. Because if it's Don Jr.,
Right.
he
Well,
has
that'd
his
be
right.
wrong.
He has his right to do it. Like I'm sure a lot of rich people do that. Of course, you know I never did because none of my books ever sell. But if the RNC did it, then what that means is that probably at the instructions of the president, they used people who had
money,
given them
donor money.
$25, $50, a lot of Trump's working class supporters to help get Republicans elected. They used it as a vanity project for Don Jr.
Wow, sounds like the foundation.
That's even
Something
worse.
Sounds just like the Trump
Joe,
Foundation.
Joe, you don't think that Triggered is a great contribution to American literature and understanding?
That's not always the standard for the bestseller list.
Don
This
Jr.'s
sounds-
writing isn't a tour de force that's really
Not since
bringing-
Herman Melville.
Well, not
Last
actually,
Jeez.
not since Jim Wright.
Oh,
For those
moly.
old enough to remember, this smells a lot like Jim Wright's scandal, where he people bought his books
Yeah.
to have him come speak.
Yeah.
It's bad.
All right, we'll have that. Still ahead on Morning Joe.
Not bad, just kind of
Former Governor
for the
Deval
RNC to
Patrick
do it.
joins the conversation on his first full day as the presidential candidate. Plus, as if there was any doubt, newly revealed emails show exactly who Stephen Miller is and what he believes. A look at the presidential advisor's white nationalist theories straight ahead.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.